and welcome to this week's Get Booked. Hey Jen, what are we talking about today?
Christmas stuff, if you couldn't tell from Mary's hat.
No way.
Way!
Cool. What's your favorite Christmas song?
Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift.
Of course.
Surprise!
That's not mine. Mine's Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses, because I am that indie kid. Alright, it's an early 80s new wave song.
I'll have to listen to it.
You've heard it before, you just don't realize it. Would you like to go first, because you have so very many books, Miss Jennifer?
Ooh. So I am a bit of a Christmas book junkie. Yeah. So Christmas books usually start coming out in October, and that's when I start reading them, and that's when Hallmark comes out with all their stuff. So I'm going to talk about these, but I'm going to be kind of snappy, hopefully. Alright, I'm going to talk about these two. These are the two teen ones I picked. So this one is called Snow and Love. It's 4 short stories. You have a Hanukkah story in here, and then some Christmas stories. Cassie West, Amy Friedman, Melissa De La Cruz, and Nick Stone. Really fun teen romance books. And then I've got 10 Blind Dates, which was super cute. This one came out last year. And the girl in this, I forget her name, Sophie, she and her boyfriend just break up right before Christmas. She heads over to her grandmother's house, and they have a huge family. And they all decide that the whole family has like this betting system, and they all set her up on 10 blind dates. And they're hysterical and terrible, and it's a really cute book. And the family is just fantastic. I love it. Make a great movie. So we have a bunch of other teen books, and they're on display in the library. You can grab those.
10 blind dates, huh?
It's pretty fun.
That would make me anxious in real life.
Well, yeah. I mean, in real life it'd be terrible, but in the book or movies, it's fine.
Cool. Alright, so my first one is more of a traditional, and then I'm going to depart, because you know that I like to do that. Which we have this book, but it was not on the shelf.
I wonder who has that at home.
Jennifer, you're like a dragon hoarding books instead of gold.
I just took it out. It's really cute. I just started it. I'm like 3 chapters in.
Okay, so this one's called Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur. It is great. So, you know how Bridget Jones's Diary is just like a new version of Pride and Prejudice?
Yes.
Cool. This is the queer version of Pride and Prejudice. So, Darcy is an actuarian, and she likes facts and numbers, and she's studying really, really hard for her tests and exams, and she doesn't need any distractions. Elle happens to run a horoscope website with her best friend from college. She's really quirky. She's kind of a disaster gay. I love her so much. Actually, she's a disaster bi. She's bi. Darcy's a lesbian. Which is important. So it has a fake dating troupe, and it happens all around the holidays, because Darcy's like, if you go out with me, then like I can get my brother off my back, who's a hopeless romantic, and I can go to his New Year's party. And she's like, cool. And then Elle's like, well, if you come into my house for Christmas, then I get that out of the way. And they're like, sure, but you know, maybe some sparks fly. It's great. It's a super great holiday read. It's also just incredibly funny as well. So that's my first one. What do you got?
The Meet Cute is hilarious.
The Meet Cute is very good. The Meet Cute is like, how are they going to, there's more of this book, but how are they going to make this work? It's bad.
It is really bad.
It's bad.
So I have 3 cozies that are all Christmas oriented. So Joanne Fluke does the Sugar Cookie Murder. These are the Hannah Swanson stories, and if you're a Hallmark junkie like me, these are a series on the Murder Mystery Channel. There's not as many as there should be, but
There should be way more.
There's a lot more books.
Allison Sweeney, get on that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this takes place in Minnesota. There's always snow. There's always great cookies, and this includes lots of recipes. The Diva Wraps It Up is a fun series. It's a domestic diva series. She actually has 2 in Christmas so far. And this is funny. These are really cute. So Sophie is the domestic diva, and it kind of centers around her and her friends and their kind of neighborhood quirky crew. And there's some hijinks that start happening at Christmas, and she's kind of like, something's going on in the neighborhood.
Hijinks, you say?
I do.
I love a hijink.
And then this one is Julie Hyzy's Hail to the Chef. This is part of her White House series, which I think we've talked about before. But I love this one because it talks about making a gingerbread house of the White House, and it's a lot of fun. So again, there's lots of food in this one, recipes. There's also recipes in the Diva books. So just a lot of fun, different characters.
Have you tried any of the recipes?
I don't think it knows. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I like write them down and then I just put them in my recipe box and I never get to make them, but they sound good.
I challenge you, 2021, to make them from your recipe box.
I did make a apple cake from a middle grade book.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is good.
Okay. So this is where I depart from our theme because I am that person to drive Jennifer crazy. So this one is the Arthurian Legends, an illustrated anthology from our adult collection. And you're like, Mary, what does that have to do with Christmas? Well, Sir Gawain, the Green Knight, his story is actually takes place during Yuletide. So it's got like the seasons in the background while he's doing his whole like night thing with the round table. That's my first one. My next one, you're gonna get so mad at me, it's gonna be great.
Oh, I can see it already. Okay, I'm just gonna go through these four.
Go for it.
So there are several authors that I wait for their Christmas stories, and they always usually have a Christmas story. Jill Shalvis is one of those, although I think this one was a novella this year, and I don't think we've gotten it yet. But
nope.
Jill Shalvis writes really fun stories. We've talked about her before. The banter is great. There's usually fun animals. This one is part of a Heartbreaker Bay novel, so it's part of a friends group, and they're always just really sweet and fun. RaeAnne Thayne does a couple different series, and this one is part of her, I think this one is the start of a new series. It's older though. She just had one that came out that was called Coming Home for Christmas, which was actually really good too. So small town. There is a tech startup company who is coming into the town, and of course there's romance, because that's what it is. Sarah Morgan is also one that I always read. Hers just came out. It was called One More for Christmas, which was really good too. We have a big display upstairs. It's on the display upstairs. I really liked her Miracle on 5th Avenue one. That was set in New York. This one was part of a trilogy. Really sweet. And Jenn McKinlay, she wrote a two-book companion sequel-y things.
Duology?
Good terminology. Yes.
Duology.
Sure, duology. I think there were supposed to be more, but I don't think they actually happened, which was very sad, because these were centered around a romance bookstore in
South Dakota.
No.
Colorado. Oklahoma.
I have no idea.
Texas.
It doesn't say.
I'm just guessing because there's a cowboy on the front.
There is a cowboy on the front. And I don't usually read cowboy books, but this one was really sweet. So, city girl, small town guy, he's obviously the cowboy. We talk about romance books, there's a fun kitten. It's all great. The first one was really good too, and this one is very sweet as well.
Cool. I'm going to derail this train real bad. So, I would like to talk about Joe Hill's Nosferatu. This is one of my favorite new horror reads that's come out in the past 10 years. So the way the plot is, Victoria McQueen, as a kid, has a secret gift for finding things. Misplaced bracelets, a missing photo, answers to unanswerable questions. And there's one day where she is tooling around town, and she goes through the rickety covered bridge that's in their town, because of course it's always New England if it's a Joe Hill or Stephen King book. And so when she goes across this like rickety old covered bridge, she encounters Charles Talent Manx, who has a way with children, and he likes to take them for rides in his 1938 Rolls-Royce Wraith with the Nosferatu vanity plate. Charles Manx basically steals kids away and takes them to his like weird Christmas town place. It's like this alternate dimension thing, and pretty much steals their souls. That's how he's able to live forever, essentially. But Victoria is the one girl that gets away. And so Charlie Manx has a vengeance, and his vengeance comes when he steals her son. So if you are a Stephen King fan, there's a lot of Easter eggs to a lot of King's other works, like The Stand, and a lot of the Wasteland series in this book. It's very good. It is very scary. It also has a TV show on AMC, and I will not watch it because it scared me so bad. I don't need more visuals to put in my noggin. Like, they came out with a comic book too that was more about Charlie Murder. I think that's his nickname in the book. And my brother was like, "Oh, aren't you gonna get it?" I'm like, "No, I don't need added things for this. I am good." So yeah, so it's a great, scary book. So that's my first one. What do you got?
Alright, I've got Sherryl Wood's The Christmas Bouquet. This is part of the Chesapeake Shore series, and if you are a Hallmark person, this loosely follows the Chesapeake Shore novels. This one takes place years and years and years later. This is Caitlin Winter's story, so one of the daughters, Abby's daughters, and this is her story. And it's just really sweet and cute, and again, small town charm.
Cool. My next one is actually more Christmas related, so but you're still gonna be like, eh. So this is David Sedaris' Holidays on Ice. These are all of his Christmas short stories. Most of them are, some of them are based on true stories, like the time he was an elf at Gimbel's. It did not go well. He did not fit in well with the other elves or the Santa. Also, do you ever get those Christmas letters from people that's like this really long list of like what we've done this year, and you're just kind of like, okay, Karen, like, you ever get those?
No.
He writes a fake one, and it is hilarious
Nice.
because it is very passive aggressive, and it is very tell-all, and I think the couple gets divorced at the end of the letter. So it's very funny. So this is more of like a humorous, like black comedy type thing. What's your next one?
That's right. So Debbie Macomber also is one of those who always writes a Christmas book. Her Christmas book this year was really interesting because it's called Jingle All the Way, and it took place like half on an Amazon cruise and half like on a farm in somewhere that gets a lot of snow.
That's like so different for her.
It was really different, and it was really interesting too. It was really fun. This one is Dashing Through the Snow. This one is also a Hallmark Channel movie. It was really fun. It's a road trip book. There's a dog. There's a mistaken identity. There is, someone thinks like they're bad people, and there are people after them. So it's really a fun story.
Okay. So my next, I have two. So Agatha Christie, did you know she wrote 2 Christmas mysteries?
I did not.
Yeah, so the first one is Hercule Poirot's Christmas. And so this one, Christmas Eve and the Lee family's reunion is shattered by a deafening crash of furniture and a high-pitched wailing scream. Upstairs, the tyrannical Simon Lee lies dead in a pool of blood, his throat slashed. When Hercule Poirot offers to assist, he finds an atmosphere not of mourning, but of mutual suspicion. It seems everyone had their own reason to hate the old man. This sounds like it could also go with our Knives Out book from last week. So there's that one, and then also if your attention span is kind of shorter and you're like, I can't do a novel, it's okay. Agatha Christie's got your back because we have a short story. This one is called The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding. There's actually a couple different 5 Christmas mysteries involving death, suicide, theft, and everyone's favorite holiday, dessert, the Christmas pudding. So we actually don't have this one in print, but it is in our Libby electronic ebook type downloadable devices. You can get it that way. I don't know how I messed up saying that. It's like you and the duology.
Yes.
I'm gonna say all the words.
What are words?
All the words.
Alright, so if you like historical romances, this one is The Mischief of the Mistletoe. This is a pink carnation book, which is like a spy romance series, which is really good. And this is really funny because it takes place like in between books, but it takes place at like a house party where everyone is kind of snowed in, and you get glimpses of things from previous novels that you were like, why did that happen? And now you're realizing, oh, that's why that happened. So it's a lot of fun because it's a little bit more developed with some of the storylines from previous books.
Cool. So I have one more book. Does that work out?
Yeah, let me go get it.
Okay.
So we talked about this one before. This one is Jasmine Guillory's Royal Holiday. This takes place in England, and one of the stylists for basically Kate Middleton, it's not exactly Kate Middleton in the book, but kind of Kate Middleton. The stylist, something happens to the stylist, and her friend has to step in.
Oh, the horror.
I know. So, the friend is Maddie, so she gets like this kind of free trip to England over the holidays, and she's just like, well, it's over the holidays. So they let her mom come so they can spend the holidays together, and her mom has a romance with a butler or a secretary for the queen. So you get like that royal twist, but it's also kind of an older ladies' romance, which is nice. And it's an own voices romance too, which is
Cool.
great.
So my last book is also funny. In Terry Pratchett's Discworld, there is not Santa Claus. There is the Hog Father. The Hog Father comes to all the good little boys and girls in Discworld and gives them sausages and hams and Christmas black puddings, like that kind of thing. But this year, OMG, somebody like kidnaps the Hog Father, and so what's going to happen if there's no Hog Father to deliver the Christmas sausages in your stocking on Hog Father's Day? Well, it's okay, because death is on the case. And we know death is not great at, like, I don't know, human-type things. So he dresses up as Santa, but he doesn't get things quite right, because he's deaf, and he has problems with that. He, again, still talks in all caps. And then his granddaughter, Susan Bones, gets wrapped up in it as well, trying to uncover the mystery of who kidnapped the Hog Father. So he's like, you go find out this mystery. I'm going to go be the Hog Father. And she's like, why are you the Hog Father? And he's like, because I've always wanted to be the Hog Father. Because Death really just wants to be loved, like all of us. And it's hilarious. It's a great read. I think there's even like a TV movie adaptation that BBC did.
Nice.
Yeah. What's your last book?
So my last one is Christmas Eve at Friday Harbor by Lisa Kleypas. This is the first of I think it's supposed to be a trilogy, but it ended up being a 4-book series.
I like it when that happens.
Yeah. This is also a Hallmark movie. Surprise! Hallmark movie. The movie though is called Christmas with Holly. And it's about this little girl who, her parents die and her 3 uncles, I think, become her overnight guardian, sort of. And they meet this woman, Maggie, who owns a toy shop, and it's just very obviously cozy, and there's a romance between Maggie and one of the uncles, and it's just very sweet.
I think I've seen this movie.
Yes.
Alright. So,
Sorry. Speaking of Hallmark.
oh yes.
So this one says don't disturb, and this one says something to the effect of I'm watching my Hallmark movies. You have to have fun socks for everything.
You do have a fun sock for everything. It is incredibly surprising. You have more fun socks than I have Converse.
That's potentially true.
Like I said, I was mad. I found out about the Converse Christmas sweater, ugly Christmas sweater sneakers this year. I missed the boat. They're only in sizes that are not my feet size.
So many questions about that.
I'll show them to you later. Anyway, thank you for joining us on Get Booked Holiday Edition. We'll see you next week. Or, no.
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 We'll see you next year.
We'll see you next year. We're on vacation.